My name is Raúl Coronado. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Ethnic Studies. I work in literary and intellectual history. I focus on the 18th and 19th centuries, and I'm interested in looking at what is now the Southwest, so looking at the Mexicano communities that lived in California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. And I ask, who told them we could have a revolution and a war of independence? Like, where did they get the ideas to fight for independence? Like, what does that mean for them? What world did they want to create? And how did they persuade other people to do that? When I was an undergraduate, I wrote my honors thesis on queer Chicano masculinity. And I was interested in how Chicana lesbians had written about the intersections of gender, desire, race, family, class, and Shri Moraga and Gloria Anzaldúa in their own works said that men had to write about their experiences as well in order to be able to arrive at more freeing ways of being. And so I went to graduate school wanting to write a history of Chicana and Chicano sexuality. Like, I was interested in the question of, like, how was it that in the 1980s, we have, for the first time in history, people who'd self-describe as Chicana or Chicano and as queer, as gay or lesbian. And it was actually it was all women really who did that. And then I realized that so much of the work in Chicana and Chicano cultural studies said that we were post-colonial or decolonial. And I thought, well, how were we colonized? So that if we're going to be post or decolonial, then we should know how to undo that. All these questions I had about wanting to study sexuality and about how we were colonized came together. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to look at the 19th century to see how we were colonized and hopefully find some queers in the archive. And then I'll do that. And then as things go, when you do archival research, you find things you never expected and your questions transform. And that's what's happened to me. I mean, I'm teaching intro to Latinx culture. And so in that class, we're going to study like folk culture. So folk culture is like more culture of the people, that is something that emerges in interactions in communities. So like, or spiritual or certain specific practices. So we're going to study like curanderas and curanderos and what that means in the Latinx culture, why people go see them. We're going to study carne asadas. Like, what is it about the carne asada that makes it so important to Latinx culture? And then we're going to study pop culture. So we'll study Selena, Quintanilla, not Gomez. We're going to study movies, music, Instagram memes. And so students are going to create memes and whatnot that relate to the class. So they'll apply the theory to their own experiences. And then we're going to study also what is described as high culture, like novels, poetry, artwork. So I do that in that class. And then in my seminar, it's an undergraduate seminar, I'm teaching, it's a history of Latinx sexuality. So that actually is the class that's really going back to my original question of what I started with today, of like understanding how Latinx sexuality came to be something to talk about to begin with. The students in my classes, they tend to be mostly Latinx students, and they come from, many of them are first gen college students. And so that just reminds me a lot of like my own experiences and the difficulties and the challenges that you face when you have to step up in your family to help out more than other students perhaps. So I really like seeing that, helping them, and especially those students who really are trying to navigate the world of what to do and how to translate their studies to going out into the world. No matter what difficulties students are facing, how overwhelmed they really need to stay in touch with their professors and keep them up to date with everything, no matter what difficulties they're facing. Like, I can't come to class because of this or that reason. Communicating is better than ignoring. And I know it's easy to sort of deny things and like push it away and not have to deal with it, but that just builds more problems. So I think the more upfront and direct and honest you are with your professors about whatever you're encountering, the better. And if you're not facing any problems or any issues like that, then you definitely should go to office hours and meet with them, because students will need a letter recommendation for whatever they end up doing, applying for internships, jobs, um, graduate school. And so they should definitely spend time getting to know their professors and interacting with them and talking to them about what they're studying.